Goeie avond, good evening, welkom, welkom. De week van de vluchteling. In English, I will continue. My name is Chris Keulemans. I was asked to host tonight because now we're starting a week of activities around the life of asylum seekers, refugees, migrants, and most of all about people who don't have the legal papers that you're supposed to have if you want to become a citizen of this country. ASKV is organizing this the whole week. ASKV is an organization which I am a strong supporter of. I was in the board for many years, and I believe that people who live in this city, or who live in any city in this country, are citizens. So if you live in Amsterdam, you're an Amsterdammer, and you should have the right to live like any other Amsterdammer. Even if you live in Rotterdam, of all places, you're a Rotterdammer, and you have the rights of a Rotterdammer. We'll see one of those people later on stage tonight. In reality, though, if you don't have the required papers, a night like this, when it's cold and rainy and dark, is tough. I hope many people tonight will be safe and warm at home watching this program, where we will highlight the life and the experience, the power, the strength and the stories of undocumented people in the Netherlands. But if you don't have those papers, you will have to rely on friends, on an organization like ASKV in order to keep you afloat, waiting for the final permit to be here recognized officially. Later on this week, we will have more activities, more programs. Of course, much of it was restricted by the pandemic rules, but on Wednesday, we'll have a storytelling program in the afternoon at Framer Framed in the east of Amsterdam from 3 to 5 o'clock. It's going to be live and on live stream, just like tonight. Participants in a workshop called Home is a Story You Carry on Your Back. Those people will be telling stories from the countries where they were born, and sharing those stories with the people here. This is part of one of the many activities of the PAO within ASKV. PAO is projectactiviteiten ongedocumenteerde, which supports undocumented people in finding their talents, developing their skills, and expressing themselves. On Thursday night, in this same building here in the Balie, we'll have a debate with local city council members, members from DENK, PvdA, Bijeen, ChristenUnie and D66. All of them will be discussing what the city of Amsterdam can do and should do in order to support the undocumented people in their midst. Tonight, we chose to share this stage and share the screen with as many people who have this experience of migrating to the Netherlands, sometimes going to the procedure, sometimes being kicked out of the procedure, sometimes spending far too much time homeless, on the streets, in trouble, because we believe that, let's say, those city council members on Thursday night will not be able to decide exactly what they can and should do to support if they do not hear the stories of the people themselves. So we're not going to talk about undocumented life. We're going to talk with people who have that experience. They are the experts. They didn't choose to be the expert, but they have become the expert, and now they're finding their way in this country in many surprising ways. You'll be impressed, I believe, by the people we'll have on stage here. But first, of course, the official part. We are very happy to welcome Anne van Schaik here on stage. She's the algemeen coördinator ASKV Steunpunt Vluchtelingen. And she will do her story in Dutch. Don't worry if you don't understand Dutch, it's all good. Anne van Schaik.
Dankjewel, Chris. Dank je, Chris. Ik wil heel kort even iets zeggen over het ASKV. Chris heeft er natuurlijk al iets over gezegd, maar voor de mensen die ons nog niet kennen. Wij geven juridische en maatschappelijke hulpverlening aan ongedocumenteerden in Amsterdam. En daarnaast vangen we ook meer dan 100 mensen op die soms zwaar psychisch of fysiek ziek zijn. Ja, de grote vraag is natuurlijk waarom deze week? Wij dachten aan het begin van het jaar dat het belangrijk zou zijn om een aantal momenten te scheppen waarin we niet over, maar juist van mensen die zonder papieren leven in Amsterdam en in andere delen van Nederland zouden horen. Nothing about us without us. Dus we denken dat het belangrijk is om dat op verschillende manieren te doen. Daarom hebben we ook een tentoonstelling hier in de Balie. Is er vanavond een gesprek met verschillende schrijvers uit verschillende landen. Wat Chris al zei, we hebben woensdag horen we van zagen en legendes uit verschillende landen. En donderdag is het dan het debat met de gemeenteraadsleden. Maar deze activiteiten staan natuurlijk niet op zichzelf. Ze moeten worden gezien in de context van de ontwikkelingen van de stad. En er gebeurt op dit moment heel veel. Er zijn mensen op straat. Er zijn mensen die geen opvang hebben omdat ze er niet toe worden toegelaten. En soms ook omdat ze de opvang alweer moeten verlaten. En dat terwijl er geen winteropvang is, alleen een winterkoude opvang. Ik denk dat het belangrijk is dat dat geluid ook wordt gehoord. En daarnaast hebben we natuurlijk ook de hele situatie met betrekking tot corona. Dit laat pijnlijk duidelijk zien hoe de landelijke overheid, hoe weinig aandacht de landelijke overheid heeft voor mensen zonder papieren. Vorig jaar in de lockdown was er weliswaar een opvang, maar konden mensen overdag nergens heen. En dankzij organisaties van het Wereldhuis kon dat toch nog een beetje worden verzacht. De vaccinaties kwamen heel langzaam op gang. En tot onze verwondering lukt het nu al maanden niet om een QR-code te krijgen voor mensen zonder papieren. En dat terwijl we al maanden aan het praten zijn over een 2G-beleid. Dat laat maar zien hoe mensen kunnen worden uitgesloten en op hoeveel verschillende manieren dat kan gebeuren. Dus ook daarom ben ik blij dat we daar donderdag de gemeenteraadsleden over aan de tand kunnen voelen. Ik wil eigenlijk eindigen met een positieve oproep. Het is niet van ons, niet van het ASKV, maar het is van asieladvocaten. En het gaat over een actie en die heet Groen Licht. Dat is deze vrijdag, 10 december, Dag van de Mensenrechten. De advocaten vragen ons om een groen licht te laten schijnen. En dat is uit protest tegen hoe mensen worden behandeld aan de grenzen van Europa. Hoe vluchtelingen worden weggeslagen, hoe ze worden mishandeld. En ook hoe individuen en organisaties die hen willen helpen worden gecriminaliseerd. Dus de mensen in Polen hebben op dit moment lichtjes aan hun huizen. Groene lichtjes om te laten zien dat migranten en vluchtelingen daar welkom zijn. En aan ons om een solidariteitsgebaar te maken om dat ook te doen. Dus 10 december, niet vergeten. Informatie staat op onze website en ik hoop dat iedereen eraan meedoet. Dan wil ik het woord weer teruggeven aan Chris.
Dankjewel, Anne. So in English, Anne described how the pandemic brought to the surface the inequalities in this society, including the way that society treats its undocumented people. Organizations like Wereldhuis and ASKV are trying to push for more attention, more care, more shelter, more support to the undocumented people, especially in the corona winter, like we're experiencing now again. She ended on a positive note, at least on an action note. Next Friday, Green Light Day. Everybody will be asked to show a green light in their windows in support of the migrants who are being blocked violently at the borders of Europe as we speak. And like the people in Poland, in the border region of Poland, you put a green light in your window if you want to show people are welcome here next Friday. Now, PAO, ASKV, has its ambassadors, and one of the most impressive and most eloquent ambassadors is here with us tonight, Amir Khomeiran. Originally from Iran, he will speak to us about the mental and dental issues that people have to go through, which are not often recognized how serious they are, but Amir is somebody who will convince everybody to take care. Amir, the floor is yours.
Those who are innocent, but don't even have ability to defend themselves. Those who can't sleep for fear because they have nightmares. Their dreams taking them back again to that small boat, lost in middle of the nowhere, dark, cold, and rainy. These are the people suffering in silence, and no one understands them. Mental health. This is a topic which not everyone talking easily about it. It's kind of taboo. But I found it very important because affecting many lives of refugees here. Most of the refugees carrying lots of traumas because of the things happened in their own country, and also dealing with scary smugglers in the death trip to find a safe land. I asked Dutch government deal with this issue a little bit friendly and realistic. These people have been injured. When you are mentally ill, you cannot concentrate to defend yourself. Your mind flying somewhere else. You simply forget where you are and imagine yourself in this scary situation again. Immigration office has to stand by humanity and support these injured people, not use their weakness against them. I have seen many people got rejected by asylum procedure and kicked out of the refugee camps while they were mentally ill. Please consider this issue in the judgment time in interview. I will be grateful if the government pay extra attention to this problem. And the next thing is dental health. If you are a legal refugee, you get the insurance card which supporting your dental care up to 250 euros. But for undocumented people, even they doesn't have this. And if some problem happening for their dental health, they have to pay for themselves. Only options is available in this situation is extracting your teeth. In other hand, you're not allowed to work, to earn money to pay for your own dental treatment. In my case, which I was struggling with it, and I'm still struggling with it, the cheapest option to repair my teeth is 2,000 euros. And it's a necessary treatment, I have to do that. But I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this situation. But no allowed to work, no open door, no insurance. And actually, I don't know what to do. I am not a person to beg money from people to say, okay, pay money from your pocket. I'm able to work. You know, there should be some temporary solution at least to just, you know, it's giving us opportunity to just have, to be able to work temporarily, to pay for our own treatments. But there is nothing. I don't know if I'm asking too much to just give a temporary permanent to work, but it's a realistic and this is a basic human right. And the last things I want to mention is it's almost winter and it's cold outside. Please open winter shelter for homeless people and make it permanent. My name is Amir. I'm a human rights activist. I'm an ambassador from ASKV, and people also with my activities know me as a refugee Holland. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk.
I mean, I'll sit here because of the microphone.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to leave the stage immediately because you address some very, very relevant, important, urgent questions. The two, mental and dental problems, are very connected, I think. About the mental issues that people have gone through, you say something very powerful. You say, please, IND, please, Dutch government, don't use my weakness against me. And this is a very good description, I think, which happens far too often. Can you tell us a bit more about this almost systematic way to hit you, to hurt you at your most vulnerable place?
Yeah, when I came to the Netherlands, so I was traumatized from my country. And also the trip, what I'm calling a death trip, was so hard. And I was in many impressive moments in that trip, which I could see death in front of my eyes. I have a video which I was recording for my mother. I said, Mama, look at me, this is the last video you see from me. I'm sure we cannot survive. I was middle of the nowhere in the sea, so it was just luck. I can say Jesus walked on the water to save me, actually. But I came here, so I was expecting compassion from the people. I got it from people, but not from the government. You know, the way they are interviewing you is like you are a criminal and they are police. And they do their best to reject you. So they are full weapon and I had no weapon. You know, even like the traumatized person who cannot concentrate to talk in the same line, how can defend himself? So that things happen to me, and also the long waiting without no answer is kind of torturing. You know, they're keeping you long months, and you have to be useless person. I'm as a 38 years old. I have lots of skills. I can work, but I have to sleep in my bed all the time, and it's pushing me to depression. You know, making me more sick. And I'm not the only one, you know. Many people are the same, and they are slowly diving into that reality. Their life is becoming their dreams. Yeah. So they're going far from reality, and they get more sick. Yeah.
Can I ask you, by the way, what are your skills? If you would be able to work right now, what would you choose?
I'm an IT guy. So I was a desktop help in my own country. I had my own computer shop after I started my own business. I'm a painter. Professional wall painter and everything. I'm a welder. I'm a little bit no good in a stucador. I'm good with tiling. I'm good with floor making laminate and everything. So I can do enough, you know, to pay for my own teeth. You know what?
Yes, obviously to begin with.
Yeah.
And I always go crazy when I meet somebody like you. I think, man, this guy is so skilled. And on top of everything, you're also very eloquent. You're a great speaker. You're an ambassador in the real sense of the word. And still, the system tries to degrade you. The system won't allow you to show yourself in all your power. This includes the dental issue. I think it's important you bring that up. Because obviously a lot of people have dental issues, like myself, but I'm able more or less to pay for the bills. If you have serious dental pain, on top of everything else, on top of the traumas, you're not in the right shape to answer to the officials who are judging on your request to stay, I guess.
No, this is a problem I think every human can face, like a dental problem. But there is not equality between the refugee or undocumented person and normal person. I feel really shame for every society which is making this two distance, like normal human, undocumented or refugees. We are the same. Yeah. And, but the problem is, in this kind of situation, you get stuck because there is no open doors. Yeah. So then you have to extract your teeth one by one. Yeah. Then finally you don't have anything to chew, and you go to doctor, and what I got the answer, chew with your front teeth. So that's things I'm dealing with it, and I have a big belly because I cannot chew my food. You know, that's yeah. Yeah, I'm laughing to this pain, but it is very painful. Maybe with my smile, I can kick a little bit the government, you know, to just be aware. You know, they're just trying to push me down, but I'm standing strong still. I'm defending my rights. But
And you're speaking for a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm very grateful that you were able to come here and to speak out on behalf of all those other people with the mental and dental issues. And I'm very curious to one day come and visit your IT shop, which you painted yourself and you fixed yourself and everything is working, and you'll have 20 people working for you and you'll be a rich, happy and healthy man. Thank you, Amir.
Thank you so much.
Amir is one of the ambassadors and a great ambassador. We have many other people here who have the wit and the life power to smile, just like Amir has been doing, facing all the troubles that this society throws at their feet. Catharina Gerritsen is a photographer who has portrayed a number of these people. Let's have Catharina on stage. Catharina is a photographer who doesn't work only for beauty, only for style, but also for the story, the human story behind the images. Can you tell us a little bit, before we go into your pictures for today, can you tell us a little bit about the drive behind your photography?
Yeah, so storytelling is most important to me, and especially stories that are not heard as much, and to show things that are not shown in regular media, or not only one-sided way. And I also studied sociology, so I'm very interested in the bigger themes in society, and it's always focused on people and identity of people.
Yeah. And then when you want to focus on people whose story is not told enough, ASKV asks you to work with undocumented people who certainly are not visible enough, who are not allowed or not or too shy to be visible. How did you approach this question?
Yeah, so I was very happy when ASKV asked me to work with them on this project, because I think it's a very important topic, and they have, of course, the people that they work with, their clients, so to say, and so yeah, we just approached different people that would be interested in having their photo taken, and the idea of the project was that I, as a photographer, was not going to put my image on them, but I wanted them to show their personality. So every time before I photographed someone, we went to have a talk, and a little bit like talk about what are your interests, what are your hobbies, or just what do you want to show, what are you proud of. So that it became a bit of a joint effort, and that's how we approached the project.
Good. So you're not labeling people. Later on we'll be talking about the labels. But you're not labeling people, you're approaching them in a very open way, and you work together. Yeah,
and the idea was also from ASKV to give a face to the undocumented people, because there's an image maybe in the media or about what undocumented means, or a lot is what you said in the shadows. So I think we thought it was important to bring it out. Who are the people behind these stories? Yeah.
How many people did you portray?
13 people in total.
13?
Yeah, 13 completely different people. Yeah.
That's one of the amazing things, the scala, the spectrum of variety of stories.
And age and everything completely different.
And 2 hours ago you were still hanging the pictures here in the gallery at the Balie, which we can see, which any visitor of the Balie can see during opening hours for the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Till the 30th of December.
Yeah. And including their own statements. Yeah. And we've seen them portrayed in the way that they choose. Let's invite two of these people here with us on stage, Nek and Zach. Please join us. Have a seat.
We're so close.
And could we? Ah, look, there we are.
Oh,
Nick.
okay.
Okay. Just 2 of the 13 people that you portrayed. Shall we start next? Can we start with you?
Yeah.
I mean, tonight you're wearing a very stylish tracksuit, all in black.
Yeah.
But here we see you
Blue.
in wonderful blue dress. What is this dress you're wearing?
Yeah. This is, they call it I can fly or butterfly style.
Uh-huh.
In an African setting. It's like a traditional free gown for my country and some African countries or even Asian countries.
Uh-huh.
It's a known style for
known
women,
style.
yeah.
Yeah. What is your country of origin again?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
And did you bring this from Nigeria? I guess not. I guess you were able to find it here, huh?
Yeah, I brought it from Nigeria.
You did?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You carried it all the way to this dark and wet place.
Yeah, because I wanted to have some things from my country as I was coming, something to hold on to, something of my culture, something to remind me of home too.
Good.
Yeah.
So when Catharina invited you, you immediately knew that you want to be photographed like this?
Yeah, I think when she invited me, we had discussion first.
Yeah, we talked also about flowers or something very
Yeah.
colorful, no? Because you're a very bright person.
Yeah, because that's my personality. I love colorful things.
Yeah.
And I feel life is the way you want it. If you want it to be gloomy, you have it. If you want it to be dark, you have it. It's a choice. So that's how I treat myself. I try to dress in colorful things because I try to be happy all the time, try to be optimistic no matter what I see. I try to not to allow it get into my spirit. So that's who I am.
Yeah.
So I love colors, yeah.
And yeah, and so also I asked everyone to write a statement about themselves. And
I'm gonna
she
read
wrote
what I
the
write.
most beautiful statement, and I was
Yeah.
sitting next to her and like,
So let
so
me read it.
inspirational.
I read, I'm a lady who loves positivity. I have seen and heard and searched my spirit and existence. In this world, there will always be challenges, problems, trials, tribulations, war, chaos, but in all, be positive. Never allow anything, anyone make you lose your happiness. Be happy, be happy, be happy. Happiness is the key. It flows from within and goes out to another person or people around you. I love flowers. They bloom, they wither. But remember, when the weather changes, the flowers bloom after all. Neki love.
It is, it's absolutely a classic picture.
Thank you.
Even without your words, it expresses what you just said. Yeah. Zach, you have a different story, obviously.
Yes, I do. Actually, I liked it. It was very contrast because the picture, the meaning behind this is like absolute contrast of happiness. So I look like sad or depressed there. That was the meaning that I want to convey. And the 3 flags that are on my faces, those are who I am. And, you know, like I came here not by choice, you know, like by force, you know, like to the Netherlands to be a refugee. I never wanted to be a refugee and claim asylum anywhere. You know, I wasn't welcome here. not with open arms. But finally, I also got my paper a few months ago. So like now I put the Dutch flag on my face as like the new identity that I have to embrace it and cherish it, and also learn the way here and still remaining as who I am. The two flags is like, the forehead is like I am the minority. Kachin, that is Kachin flag, is the most, we are, I think, like named as the most persecuted minorities in the world. With
in Myanmar,
in the war,
in
not
the world,
just in Myanmar, because the the genocidal campaign has been going on in my region for more than a decade, 12 years, but nobody is heard of us because we are like a small tribe in the northern part of Myanmar, and nobody know Kachin, so like I am Kachin from there, and also like on the other side is like my official Burmese government's flag. I am from Myanmar. The government, like prosecute anyone who is different from them and who is not in their religion, who is not in the same tribe. So like, things like that. So I want to capture that moment. I also went through a lot of horrible things, being homeless, depressions, and a lot of what Amir just described previously. Like I was having the stomach problem and diarrhea very bad. But in the camp, I had like 57 euros. So like I wasn't able to buy 25 euro medicines. 25 euros, which is ridiculous because also not covered by the insurance. So like I have to pay all of my own pocket. Because I don't have enough money, like I barely have enough money to eat for a whole week with 57 euros. So like I just went through the pain, and also like I was eventually also sunken into a depression, and I didn't get treatment in the camp as psychology help as well. But finally, I was able to like run away from the camp, deportation camp, and then I was undocumented for over a year, and it's really hard, especially at the beginning of the corona starting. The whole world was freaking out because nobody knew what this virus could do to people. So like everybody is like just just retreated into their home city. But for us, like no place to go. And the refugee camp doesn't even accept a new refugee because of the virus. It was shut down, so like I was nowhere to go. Left on the street, not even allowed to enter premises like hospital or police. Like people were so scared. But luckily I met ASKV, and I'm very grateful for that. Like if I wasn't able to get the help from ASKV shelter, I would be like different story, or I may not be telling the story today. So I'm very grateful for ASKV as well, and this project is also very meaningful. And I'm very happy, like Catharina,
Can we
make this project happen?
It's impossible, to tell the whole story in such a short time. Your approach is different, if I can guess. And Nek, you choose for positivity in the face of everything. Zach seems more like a fighter in the face of everything. Catharina, how did you work with this difference? Two strong people, but different approaches to life.
I don't know. I mean, they had such great ideas. I didn't really have to do much, we thought about it together, and I think Zach really wanted to make a statement about where he's from and show his identity really on his face. And there was more, the other photos more just about the color and the vibe and the feeling, I think.
I think what my picture portrays, the message behind the colorfulness of my picture and my face and everything, it's not really that I don't feel pain, but I choose to be happy.
Right.
Right. That's all.
Yeah, but it's also in your text. I mean, you speak about things that we cannot imagine going through, like a war.
War, chaos,
yes,
challenges, and all that Corona. But in all things, I feel if we have survived, some people have died too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even people who have better things than what we want.
True.
Some people have all the things we feel we are looking for and have gone. So we are privileged to be here. So
in that sense, yes, and that's why you make your choice to approach life in a positive way.
Yeah.
In the meantime, yes, let's loop a little through the pictures that Catharina made of others. But Zach, I want to ask you about your own photography.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You picked up a camera. Your pictures are here in the gallery as well. And when I look at those pictures, I see somebody who's very curious about this new society that he didn't choose for, but of which he is now a part.
Yeah. Well, I was forced to, like out of my country as well. And also the government here were also reluctantly took me in. So, but now, like I love the Dutch people, even the system is not friendly. The most compassion and the friendliness and the help I got was from the Dutch local people, not from the systems. Right. So like I'm really, like also grateful that I am here because just yesterday in my country, the protester, the activists like me were dying on the street, being gunned down and run through by the military truck. So like I'm very grateful to be in the Netherlands. So now I embrace this new home and new culture, and I'm opening my heart out to learn how things are done here. Like I took the picture, as you can see, like somebody, the girls smoking freely at the central station, or the disabled guy with the wheelchair, like going around his life happily, and nobody looked down on him or something like that. And also the cultural difference back home in my country and here, there's a huge contrast for me and very, very prominent. But I think for you guys, like this is how you are, so like you might not notice it and very subtle. But for me, it was very strange and very, It
requires strength to activate this curiosity, I think, because God knows you have enough on your mind already. Catharina, you meet Zach, and he's like you. He's a photographer and a kind of sociologist because he starts studying this society and the people. How
that was great. Immediately we started sharing cameras and talking about photography and taking photos. He also has an Instagram page where he photographs dogs on the streets, and it's amazing. And we clicked very well. And I just love to see his view on Amsterdam because those, for example, those girls smoking, like I don't notice it, and then when I hear him, I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. Yes, that's so different, So I'm happy.
Now, there's one terrible thing about tonight. The schedule is too tight. We get all these people, it's fantastic, and then you have to say goodbye again. Just one small thing, talking about dogs, about Zach and his pictures of dogs. Another man that you've portrayed in the picture, he's holding a small dog, and his text is, "The more I know about people, the more I love dogs."
Yes. He's been undocumented in Holland for over 20 years, and he just got his papers a few months ago, I believe.
Okay.
So that's great. But he loves dogs. He walks a dog from someone he knows. And that was the first thing I got to know about him. Like, I love dogs. He has only pictures of dogs on his phone. So like, okay, let's have a walk with a dog and take a portrait. Yeah. And then he also wants to write that. So that was very fitting with the photo.
It's going to be very tough after 20 years to fall back in love with human beings again. But I hope he will. And we have some examples here of people who will do that, whatever happens. Thank you so much, all three of you.
Thank you.
And make sure before you leave the building, or people at home, when it stops raining and you visit the Balie, to check out all these portraits, people in the way they want to express themselves, and the text that go with those pictures by Catharina Gerritsen. Talking about photographs, yes, now we're going to move to film, video. A number of people connected to ASKV have been making a film. So I don't know exactly why... the screen is coming back. This film is called Different Labels, One People. It's brand new. It's made by a number of undocumented people together with eBay TV. Tonight we're going to have a world premiere of 15 minutes from this brand new film, including 2 of its brand new movie stars. Let's go and have a look first at a part of Different Labels, One People.
Yeah, my name is Sonny. I'm from Edo State of Nigeria. Edo State is a kingdom in Nigeria. Edo State have been existing before they found Nigeria.
Yeah. My name is Darlie Alvarez. I have 30 years old. Yeah. En ik ben een kunstenaar. Nice. Ik kom uit Colombia. And I live in the Netherlands already for 5 years.
Ja, dat hangt vanaf wie je vraagt. Godfrey is bekend voor veel verschillende dingen bij veel verschillende mensen. De ene denkt dat ik een dichter ben, de andere zanger, de ene spreker, de andere verhalen vertellen. De andere kent me als hulpverlener. Maar in deze hoedanigheid ben ik hulpverlener. ASKV staat voor Amsterdam Steuncomité Vluchtelingen. De naam zegt het al. Het geeft en biedt steun aan vluchtelingen die afgewezen zijn. Denk aan juridisch, maatschappelijk, maar ook medische zorg aan mensen die gevlucht zijn.
My father belonged to one of the cult. So that is how he destroyed the family and he destroyed his life, of which it also affects me. That is what brought me to Europe today. Because everywhere I go, they always attack me. And the cultism I'm talking about, they have the senior ones and they have the junior ones. Mm. So why the junior ones always attack me when I go to school, when I go to an errand, they always follow me. They always fight me.
Because you was junior, huh?
Yes, I was junior. And when the senior ones come to fight my father, I always rise and also try to defend my dad. So for that, they don't like us. They don't like me. They don't like my mother. They don't like any of us anymore. They rise up, they bring out gun to attack us. Before I know what is going on, I lost one of my best friends, called Usas. May his soul rest in perfect peace today. They shoot him right here. In the chest. In the chest. He go down. For that, I could not resist it anymore. I have to run for my life. I run home. When I get home, and I was so afraid because I saw my friend going down. When I get to my house, I run to the roof. So I heard a lot of noise in the house. They said, he's here. If you don't come out, we'll bring down the house.
Those people come look for you?
Yes, they come for me also. They said they're going to kill me also because I come to attack them. Mm. It's an injustice to the society, of which I saw the white fire in my front. I could not resist it anymore. Then I jumped from the rooftop. I jumped down. That is how I get my leg today dislocated. I have a problem on my foot.
You broke the legs?
Yes, I broke the leg. But but today I think it's getting better. But that was a long time ago. Mm. So for that, I jumped down from the roof. I go to the bush. From there, I find my way. I take a car. Some people also helped me and said, Sonny, you have to leave. You have to leave the country. If not, they will kill you. These people really mean this time. I have to leave to Kano State.
I'm lately working for like a year with cyanotype which is an ancient technique from photography. And well, since the last year and a half that we have this Corona time and COVID, it was nice to reconnect with something new, new techniques, new learning, and so I basically started being more aware of my surround in terms of earth, in terms of nature, and well, I have a bunch of collections of botanical things that you can use as a resource to do this technique, which is very nice. And then I'm gonna show you how I do it.
Okay. Before you do that, you said because of the corona, you discovered, you started like researching around you. Did you work differently before?
Differently. Normally, I used to do fine arts and printing, lino print or woodcut, or also some ceramics, also drawing with very basic material, charcoal. So it's just different because then the objects, the medium that you use.
Nou, mijn rol binnen het ASKV is het contact creëren. ASKV heeft besloten sinds 6 jaar dat ze ook wel activiteiten gaan organiseren voor de doelgroep. Los van die juridisch, maatschappelijke en medische zorg dat ze geven. En in dat activiteiten organiseren voor de doelgroep creëer ik of zorg ik voor contact tussen de doelgroep en Amsterdam. Maar ook de doelgroep doorverwijzen naar activiteiten in de buurt en zo. Het proces van het contact leggen. Ik beschouw mezelf als een diplomaat die 2 partijen bij elkaar moeten brengen. En bij een diplomaat hoort ook wel een ambassade. Dus ik heb zo'n huiskamer gecreëerd die ik dan de ambassade noem. En dat is symbolisch een plek waar mensen ongedocumenteerde Amsterdammers in kunnen vinden. Dus de ambassade is een ontmoetingsplek waar Amsterdammers en ongedocumenteerden elkaar ontmoeten. Samen of vrienden worden of activiteiten organiseren of van alles samen ondernemen. Ja.
Feeling guilty because I'm thinking of you. Deep inside I'm hearing whispers, I gotta see you. And sometimes I'll walk by to take a glimpse at you. It doesn't matter, blocks of here, types like you are few. So I'm getting high, that's no lie, only I can see the white. In my fights to get by, I wipe them tears off from my eyes. And I tried, but my feelings getting dry. It's like a camel in the desert with rooftop desires. Like a camel in the desert with rooftop desires. You got the right type of paraffin to light up my fire. Only thing you've gotta see is I've got desire. Only thing you've gotta see, I've got desire.
I think this is something that comes from family, very creative family. No one went to college to do art or something like that, but many crafts involved. So since I was a little kid, I grew up with my grandmother, and she is a craft maker, like always doing stuff, like her whole life. So since I was a kid, she teach me everything she knows, basically. And I just went step forward, you know, like.
You never stopped.
Yeah, like no, and then I was interested in study arts actually because of this relationship that I had to do with doing stuff with your own hands, you know, like being creative with your own hands. So that's why I also like fine arts, that the atmosphere of the atelier, you know, the atmosphere of doing something, the atmosphere of have a process to achieve something on terms of being creative. So digital things are very like helpful, and I also learn how to use them as a resource. But for me, there's nothing better than just do the things as most artisanal that you can do.
Vanuit de ASKV zouden we het gemeente willen adviseren om, als ik vanuit mijn afdeling praat, om participatie te bevorderen. Want het is door participatie dat mensen in contact komen met Amsterdam en meer leren kennen over hoe het is in Nederland. En wellicht gaan ook wel beter begrijpen waarom IND de besluiten nemen, zeg maar, die zij nemen. Toevallig was ik zelf ook wel ongedocumenteerd in Amsterdam, 3 jaar. En in mijn persoonlijke ervaring was dat opvang. Dat is de grootste uitdaging. Slaapplek, dat hebben de meeste mensen niet. Want als je dat hebt, dan kan je verder gaan denken. Dan ga je verder plannen gaan maken. Maar dus die basis benodigdheden wat mensen zonder documenten nodig hebben, is dak.
And I don't even advise anyone to experience that kind of thing. I don't advise anybody because it's like a hell to me. So what you don't like, you don't advise anyone to experience those kind of things. So I'm saying this story also to advise my brothers back. They should not, they could not start this journey. It's not what, it doesn't worth it either. Because when you also get to Europe, what you experience is also, it's not also easy. It's not also easy. So when we get to Italy, we start all over. We are like just like a baby, you know. So it was so difficult for us. Even my way here, till up to this extent that I'm in Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
It wasn't easy also. I sleep in the street, and I sleep in the forest also.
In Amsterdam?
Yes, in Amsterdam. There was no home, nothing.
You come to the stranded country and expect a better life, and you say, hey, I'm not in this country, but you don't have a place to sleep, place to stay, to take shower.
A lot of cold.
Yeah, and it was cold,
And nobody help you.
Yeah.
When you are not in the system, when you are kicked out of the system, my brother, you have to be sorry for yourself. Because I slept on the street. You cannot take your bath because nobody will allow you to come to his house because you don't know anybody here. So you have to face your own cross. You have to carry it yourself. So it was so hard. I have some videos about the time I was in the forest. I make a video to remember all this and also to show it to people what I experienced. So that is how it is. It was not easy.
This is a survival experience for you.
Yeah.
And your advice for the other people, don't do it because you survived, they cannot survive.
Many people died.
Many people died.
Many people died. Many people could not survive it. Even some people get mad because what they pass through, what they are saying, they have not seen those kind of things before. They cannot control it anymore. They get mad. So I don't advise anybody. If you are planning to move out of to move out from Africa, it is better you stay back and build your future there. So that is it, bro.
Pool. And that's just part of the film, Different Labels, One People, with these 5 heroes in the main roles. Working together with the crew from IBTV. Mm-hmm. Now, we have 2 of the stars of this film in the house tonight, so I want you to give a warm welcome to Daniel and Sunny. And please join me on stage. Sunny, Daniel, have a seat. Sunny, I don't know where to begin, so I'm not going to begin with you. No, because you're giving us, I mean, such a honest and heartbreaking story. I want to ask you a few things, but maybe let's move to Daniel first. In the film, Daniel, you don't speak, but you play this very, very gentle and sensitive piano music while Godfrey is sharing his poetry. For tonight, because you don't feel totally comfortable in English, you've prepared a text in Spanish, and I will read the Dutch translation. Go ahead.
Okay. This is my text, this is my experience here. Mi mundo en el norte. Quiero ser franco y claro en mis palabras, y que mi experiencia desde que vivo aquí pueda ayudarnos a ver un mejor futuro. El carácter del holandés puede parecer por momentos distante o frío, y por su franqueza a veces parecen ser groseros, pero esa no suele ser su intención. Todos sabemos que el prejuicio es muy negativo y a veces es tan intenso que termina pareciendo que ha ganado. Yo, en cambio, preferí prepararme, entender e integrarme a esta nueva cultura y a estas nuevas costumbres. Y gracias a esa actitud encontré en mi camino a personas amables, pacientes y solidarios. Encontré una sociedad muy igualitarista en muchos sentidos. Personas que valoran la honestidad. Por eso les aconsejo a quien se sienta un poco fuera de este sistema que cambie la actitud. No deberíamos ser moldeados por un entorno negativo, sino juntarnos en ambientes con personas positivas. Soy una persona positiva, soy una persona paciente. En mi día a día, la paciencia lleva al ser humano a soportar malos momentos y soy positivo aún en los días que nada parece estar bien. Esto me ayuda a tolerar contratiempos sin lamentarme. Entonces, seamos amables y ellos serán amables. Seamos respetuosos y ellos serán respetuosos. Enfoquémonos en compartir nuestras buenas emociones y colaborar para lograr un fin común en este país. Blijf positief in de wereld.
Thank you, Daniel. And you will allow me to read it, and I'll translate into English so that Sunny and everybody else can also understand, because it's a powerful text. My life in the North. I want to be honest and clear with my words. I hope that the experience of my life here in the Netherlands, I can help you to see a better future. The character of the Dutch people can sometimes strike you as distant and cold, and because they're so direct It can seem impolite, but that is not their intention. We all know that prejudices can be negative, and that sometimes they can seem so intense that the prejudice look like they're gonna win. But I've chosen to prepare myself to integrate into this new culture and its rituals and to try to understand them. Thanks to this attitude, I have met many kind and patient and solidaire people. I've found a society that is egalitarian in different aspects. I've found people who appreciate honesty. That's why I advise the people who feel excluded from the system to change their attitude. We should not let us be shaped by a negative surrounding, but we should get together in the environment, in the company of positive people. I'm a positive person who is patient every day. Patience gives people the power to endure bad moments. I am patient even in the days that nothing seems to be going right. This helps me to overcome obstacles without regret. Let's be kind to each other. Let's be kind to people and they will be kind to us. Let's be respectful to people and they will be respectful to us. Let's focus on sharing our good emotions, our positive emotions, and work together to achieve our goal together in this country. Thank you very much. Again, like a few people before you tonight, the power of this positive message in the face of everything you encounter is impressive. And Sonny, you're one of those people, and you're brutally honest in this film. How was it to see yourself on the screen like this?
Yeah, it was my first time. I've not been in a screen like this before, but due to what I passed through, so I have to bring it out to people, because many people, they don't understand what we passed through. Mm-hmm. They only see us, they don't know our story. So I decided to bring part of my story to the audience to listen.
I said you're so honest. It's incredible. Is it difficult to to step across that border and to share this tough story with so many people in public?
Yeah, I don't think it's difficult. Yes, just that I've not been there before, but it was my first time, so I think it's normal to me. Mm-hmm. And I also like to move forward.
Yep, it's clear. I mean, just the way you sit there on the screen, you look like a man with the confidence, like a man with the strength to achieve your dreams. But you also say something very striking to the people who are still in Nigeria or elsewhere in Africa thinking about crossing. You say, don't do it. It's not worth the effort.
Yes.
That is your conclusion after your struggle to...
Yes, because the journey was not easy. Mm. It's not what you start, then you try to embark on the journey. You cannot do that. Maybe it's like when you start, there's no way you can go back from it. Mm-hmm. So it is better you just fight the battle there in Africa, because after you might have also succeeded. Here in Europe, it's another story, because it's another world, another continent. Yeah. So the system here is also different from the one we are in Africa. Yeah. And also to abide to the system here is so hard, and it makes so many people to be traumatized. Mm-hmm. And also when you go to a place like, as I say today, there are so many people, they don't get themselves anymore because of different things they have seen in their life and what they passed through and the process of coming here to Europe. So not everybody could survive it. No. That was the reason I'm advising people back, because there are also many that are in trouble in Africa that are planning.
Like you were yourself?
Yeah, like what I passed through also. So I just advise them to better stay back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess you recognize a lot in Amir's story as well, huh?
Yeah.
About the part of the journey here.
Yes.
Yeah. Will you, now that you've stepped into the camera's view, will you continue speaking to others, sharing your experience, giving your knowledge?
I like to tell people more, because it's just the part of the story.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this is not the last time you will be speaking in public about what you went through and what you learned?
No.
That's a relief, because our time is up for now.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sunny, and thank you, Daniel. I apologize for so short, but it's so strong to have you here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, we told you that we would be sharing a lot of stories, that there would be a lot of people on stage here, and that's why the program is full of stories who we cannot give all the due respect tonight, but later on. I just want to add one thing to this film. I think we should give a warm and grateful applause to this one guy who is connecting all these people together and sharing some poetry in the meantime as well, Godfrey Lado. Because yes, he deserves that. Now, we've been seeing film, we've been seeing photographs, we saw some piano music even in the film. Now we're going to move on to a different art form, literature. Writing, poetry, novels, essays, stories. I'm a writer myself, so I'm very happy to invite two writers here on stage. And let's begin with Ishmail Kamara. Ishmael, you are carrying one of your books, Landschap van mijn ziel. You've also published this collection called Smile, and a novel called 100 Golden Horses, A Journey to the Promised Land. And as we just heard from Sunny, the journey to the Promised Land can be a long and tough journey. Ishmael, you write non-stop in every form and shape you can think of. You walk the streets of your city, you perform your poetry to people. What is the driving force between this poetic man?
Well, the driving force behind my poetic manner is just like what Enneka said. Mm-hmm. It's about positivity. Stay positive. So poetry became sort of kind of a therapy for me as someone who has been rejected by the Dutch government, the immigration, in 2012 when I came, and kicked out to the streets. So then I discovered poetry. Yeah. And it became like a therapy, a home, and everything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Poetry like a home. I think we have a short video, of Ishmael performing some of this poetry. Let's watch.
Ik heb 7 jaar op straat geleefd, in Rotterdam. In die periode heb ik mijzelf opnieuw moeten ontdekken en kwam erachter dat een schrijver en dichter in mijn schouder. De straten en pleinen werden mijn podium om mijn verhaal te vertellen. Ik hoor bij de Temne-stam en ben geboren in Rotembana, een dorp in Mambolo Chiefdom in het noorden van Sierra Leone. Ik kreeg mijn basisonderwijs onder een boom. Maar de middelbare school was een echt schoolgebouw. In het derde jaar moest ik helaas stoppen, omdat mijn familie het niet meer kon betalen. Ik heb de burgeroorlog in Sierra Leone meegemaakt. De oorlog liet een grote gat achter in het sociale en economische leven van onze land. In 2012 ben ik gevlucht naar Nederland vanwege traditionele en sociale druk van mijn volk. Na 7 jaar op straat zit ik alweer 9 maanden in een AZC en ik wacht nog steeds op een verblijfsvergunning. Maar ik geef niet op. Nooit. Mijn naam is Ishmail Kamara. En mijn eerste roman heet 100 Golden Horses, A Journey to the Promised Land.
You'll never give up are the last words you say here in this clip.
No. It's rather unfortunate it's in Dutch, but I believe my brothers and sisters can feel the story from the pictures. Yeah, it's a summary of my life, my journey, in 1.5 minutes.
It's an excellent short video. Can you also share some of your poetry?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
I want to read from my book Smile.
Mm-hmm.
It's my debut. It was published in 2018 in the UK by Afan Books. So I want to read the poem Smile itself.
Cool.
Because that poem is my fight poem, you know. It's the first poem that I wrote, actually. So it goes like this. It is difficult to smile, but it's sometimes easy. When I look at the mirror, I see a man. I see a man who looks just like me. I smile and say to him, many of my smiles begins with you. My smiles brought me so many motivations. Even when my grandmama passed away, I smiled too. I smile, even when I don't have a place to call home. Someone sleeping next to me saw me smiling while sleeping. Making someone next to you smile is more than giving them gold and silver. Invest your time and money in things that makes you smile, for smiles are always profitable. For many are rich in money and material things, but they still need someone to make them smile. Use your smiles. Use your smiles to overcome your fear, anger, and difficulties. My name is Ishmael. Life is tough on me, but I always smile. Thank you. I also want to do one in Dutch. I will do one in Dutch from my last book. This is a Landschap van mijn ziel. The poem title is, I think it's one of the last one. Ik moet vluchten. Yeah. Ik moest vluchten. It's about someone that have to flee. Ik moet vluchten. I have to run, you know. Er is geen ruimte in jouw gedachten om mijn omstandigheden te begrijpen. Want je staat niet in mijn schoenen. Ik ben bang gemaakt. Ik ben bang gemaakt door de monsters uit mijn achtertuin. Die heeft mij kwaad gemaakt toen ik moest vluchten voor mijn leven. Mijn koffer was leeg, maar te zwaar om te dragen. Ik heb mijn identiteit achtergelaten. Hoe kan ik dat bewijzen als mijn vinger nergens kan wijzen? Bereik ik een nieuw land? Vluchteling, roepen ze naar mij. Als vluchteling blijf ik vechten om mijn leven als mens terug te krijgen. Ik dwaal door de Nieuwbinnenweg en de Mauritsweg om mijn verhaal te vertellen. De straten worden koud, mijn stem trilt terwijl ik wacht op mijn verblijfsvergunning. Het AZC is een fabriek voor depressie. Daar wonen hopeloos mensen zonder agressie. Ik wou dat u in mijn schoenen of in hun gedachten wandelt, om te begrijpen wat er echt toe doet. Dank jullie wel.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Het AZC is a factory of depression.
Yeah, the AZC is a factory for depression, just like what my fellow my colleague just said.
Yeah.
You know, while telling that part of the story, I recognized it, you know. You know, dreams has been buried. People are walking dead, you know. It's a system that is designed actually to kill you mentally. Mm-hmm. So if you cannot hold on, you'll be walking dead. Yeah. And that's what's going on in the camps.
Exactly. And tonight we're meeting people who are walking that fine line between the depression and the hope or the smile.
Yeah.
How did poetry become your home? Because you're telling us a story like you were not a poet before in Sierra Leone, but you became a poet here.
Yes, I wasn't a poet in Sierra Leone. I didn't discover myself as a poet there because our culture of storytelling is not through writing. Yeah. It's through, you know, how do you call it? Explanation. You know? From grandfather, oral form of storytelling. From grandfather to father, father to son, you know. So we are very beautiful storytellers, but people, they don't know they are poets. So when I came to the Netherlands, I was curious to learn, to integrate. So I was actually discovered through a poet, you know, through my figure of speech. And the person said to me, I think whatever you say means something. So if you put it in a context of a text, then you can become a writer. Yeah. And then I couldn't believe it at first, you know, because in our culture, someone who writes a book should be highly educated. And I only stopped at secondary school, you know. So I couldn't believe that I can write. I said to him, no. So then the person gave me, you know, an assignment. She said, go home, write something, you know, and bring it to me next week. So that's when I went back at my room by then. I used to live as illegal by then. I had a room with a wardrobe and a glass on it. So I sat on my bed, I looked at the mirror, I saw myself, and I smiled. So that's how the poem started. So looking at the man in the mirror, and, you know, makes me smile. And I said to him, you know what? Many of my smiles begins with you.
I want to ask you about that smile in a minute, but one more thing about this poetry. Okay, so by now you're the author of 3 published books.
Yeah.
And in this culture, books mean something. But I also notice the way you speak, you're very careful about language, about the words you choose. Is this also kind of, how do you say, a strategy to stay on top?
Well, it's about who you are in the first place. And secondly, I am raised in a culture where you really have to choose your words. You know? We don't have freedom of expression. For example, as a child, you don't tell your father, Papa, how up? No. That do you need? You have to listen. And you always have to choose what you say. So I think it originated from there. And plus the art of writing, of playing with words. Yeah. You know, I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is one thing you brought to our country. Now you're bringing it to the beautiful city of Rotterdam. You know, it takes courage because you're originally from around Mambolo, yeah, in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
From Mambolo to Rotterdam is about as far as Rotterdam to Amsterdam.
Well, I think circumstances bring them both close. Because Rotterdam is my second home anyway.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, well, I respect that. I respect that.
Yeah.
No, but to return to the smile. Somebody who's new in a city, in a society, in a family, he can choose to smile out of shyness or politeness or because you don't want to offend anybody. But that's a different kind of smile. That's a smile to make yourself smaller. And your smile is something to make yourself stronger.
Yes, for me, smiling is a way, to walk through fire, I always, when I was a child, I used to be the same, Like even if something terrific has happened here, something that people shout like, oh, in our culture, I would just start laughing, smiling. People were like, shut up, you don't take anything serious. But indeed, I took it serious because, my smile makes me calm. Mm-hmm. And when I smile that way, it makes me stronger to come up with a solution.
Right.
So then I'll tell people, calm down, let's do this, and then most times we come to a solution. Yeah. So it's sort of my strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a way to hide yourself, it's a way to show yourself.
Well, some people look at it as a way of hiding myself, being humble, because I'm a humble person. But when people get to know me, they will know it's also a part of my strength.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very good.
But behind the smile, there is always a heavy backpack to carry,
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And listening or reading your poetry, it is clear you don't hide the darker parts of your journey either. Huh? It's not like you're how do you say, putting the tough story in the shadows. They're part of the whole thing. They're part of the same thing. Yeah, telling your story, I think, is the most difficult thing to do, especially the things we're going through as refugees all over the world. It's so painful as a human being, not being recognized, being rejected, even being accepted. You're still being stereotyped. Right. Even those that are accepted, that got the stay or wherever or become a citizen, there is still this stereotyping going on in the political arena, in the countries where we look for safety. Yeah. So it's quite tough, to come out from that, downside to tell your story. Right. So if you come out and tell that story, I think it takes a lot of strength to me. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And to share it is also strength. Yeah. So I think it's important for me. Yeah. Yeah. And you're not the only one, as we can see tonight. We will be joined also by Hafsah Mujalli. There she is. Please join us. Hafsah is a writer too. We'll talk about more about your situation and background in a minute. But first, I want to ask you, how do you respond to Ishmael's story and the way he carries poetry, the way he uses poetry in order to show the strength? How do you look at that? Because you're a very different kind of writer. We'll get to that in a minute. But how you look at this writer?
I think about writing, it's really, as he said, it's a way of expressing yourself. So he considered it as his home, and I think to me it's also home. It's the way that helped me cope with the things that I was struggling with. Like, I have been writing for 17 years so far, but it was always my escape, my way to go to expressing myself and others through writing. So I agree on that. It's really can be called a home. Yeah. And do you recognize something in this gift that Ishmael has to combine the smile and the darkness? I think it's a way. Sometimes when things are very sad, it's a way of making them like black comedy, or like to mock them, to smile in the face of pain, a way of showing pain that, yeah, I'm hurting, but I'm still surviving and struggling.
Ishmael, you just talked about how important it is to share your story. I think to share it with people like me who don't have the same experience, but also to share it with people who are going through the same experience. How do you see that? Do you see people, how do you say, going under because they're not able to express themselves in the way that you can?
Well, I always say to people, telling a story is the first part of solution. Whatever we do in life, because everything we do in life has a story, be it science or whatever. So if we don't tell a story, we cannot start with a solution. So I always tell people, go out there, share your story with people that you can trust. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. But we have different ways of telling stories. We saw an artist, working with herbs, telling a story. You can use art, you can use writing. Sometimes you don't even have to speak. You can play the piano. It tells a story. So I think telling your story can set you free. So because it's the truth, especially when you tell it raw, like the way Daniel did it, And his story is actually really connected to my novel. It's also a character that travels, You're
talking about Daniel or Sonny?
Sonny, sorry, I mean Sonny, So like a character that travels through the Sahara and the sea and to the promised land, So like it's really, really tough. And it's a way of sending a message back to people to people to feel that it's not easy,
And he also chose to tell the story.
Yes.
Like you did.
Yes.
Hafsah, you're from Yemen originally. You haven't been here for very long yet. As a woman in Yemen, you educated yourself. You learned to express yourself through writing. You were teaching. You were breaking through barriers. What made you discover how important it is to tell the story and to share the story?
As a writer who is woman, I think I was privileged because I'm from a tribe, and tribes in Yemen are still there, and women in Yemen in general, even they have rights in the law, it's not really applied. I can't get a passport. I can't get an identity without identity card without a permission of a man in the family. So I was privileged to have education, to be able to be a writer, but with a limit. Like you can do this if a man or if a person from a family who is running the family allow you to do that. And I was privileged to do these things to a point when I started to try to change the society, to do more things, then I was stopped. So I realized at a certain moment when I was in my 20s, yeah, I have rights, but it's under condition, the condition of those male men in my society and in my tribe. I tried to use these things that I have learned. I tried to do by writing, and I have my 3 first books published. But then when the society in general and then the war started, women's situation got worse, and it was really hard to do anything at that point. Then I had to write with a pen name, not using my real name anymore, and I had more space to see more things and to tell the story, as he said, because telling the story is part of changing the situation.
And now you're here, and you continue writing, you continue telling the stories, but maybe we should first listen to something you wrote. Did you bring something you can share with us?
I have a poem. I'll read it. I hope you have the translation in English.
You're going to read it
I'll read it in
Arabic, and we'll see the English translation on screen, I believe. Yes, there we go.
I'll read it in Arabic. باتت حياتي كسلسلة مفاتيح فارغة، تساقطت منها المفاتيح شيئا فشيئا. تخلصت من مفتاح منزل جدتي الصدئ. منزلها الريفي مهجور منذ توفيت. أضعت مفتاح منزلنا الكبير منذ غادرته، حتى أنني أضعتني قبله. عندما حانت الحرب، الطيران دمر مكتبي، والدبابات قصفت شقتي المستأجرة، اللصوص سرقوا ما تبقى من جيوب جثة الوطن. تركت خلفي كل المفاتيح المتبقية، لم أعد أمتلك مغالق لأحشرها فيها. الخيام لم تحتج مفاتيح جديدة، والفنادق المؤقتة والاستوديوهات الصغيرة الضيقة لم أدخل أي مفتاح في سلسلة مفاتيحي. تركتها فارغة. أردتها أن تحس بالغربة مثلي، وأردتها أن تنتظر مفتاحا هو الوطن، مفتاحا كقلبك الذي ظل يكللني بالمحبة حتى في غيابك. تركتها فارغة. هكذا مثل ذلك القبر الذي يتوجسك، مثل كل تلك الرسائل التي تعود بدون إجابات، فقط تتخمر في بريدك الإلكتروني حتى تعود من المواجهات وتقتنع أنها ليست حربنا، أنه ليس وطننا، وأنك وطني.
It's quite extraordinary poetry.
Thank you.
Ishmael, you agree, yeah? It's very poetic language.
Strong piece. I feel the pain, you know. I've also been through war. You know, I didn't fled because of the war, because the war was over in my country in 2002. But I experienced the World War, 11 years. Yeah. So, yeah, I felt your pain. I know what it means. It's a strong piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the same for me. I didn't leave the country because of war, but because I felt that being there is the reason. As a writer, if I'm not there writing about these things, what's the reason? Like being away, writing about what, doing what? I have been a writer all my life. Yeah, I have other things to do, because being a writer in Yemen or in the Arab world doesn't mean that it's your source of income at all. It's something you do on the side. And this is why the society looked at it as like, you're privileged, you are doing something like for free time. It is not a serious thing, but it was for me. And I wanted to be there to do it. But by the year of 2018, my life was in real danger, and I had to flee the country. I spent 1.5 years in Malaysia, and then I got a scholarship by ICORN to represent Anne Frank with the Dutch Foundation of Literature. And I think I got lucky, because this is not happening to every other writer, to every other person. People are dying there. People are dying and being undocumented in different countries. The same stories I have heard today are happening to my friends in different countries and to people I know. And it's hard, but writing about it at least make me feel that I'm doing something. I'm telling people that there is something happening in that part of the world, that people need to do something about it.
We do. And a woman's voice from Yemen in the public space of Europe is quite rare. You take that responsibility. I would like to hear from you, how do you keep doing that? Because I could imagine the scale of the destruction and the sadness and the violence where you come from is so huge. The fate of the women that you speak for is so tragic. I can imagine that you get up in Amsterdam on days like these and simply don't have the power and the energy to write anything.
I'll start answering this question with a story. In 2005, it was like the beginning of when we think that as women we will be able to be on a stage and read. Of course, be on stage and read covered from head to toe. I was wearing all black, and I didn't mind it. For me, it doesn't matter as long as I have my rights. At a certain point, these things will change. That was in 2005, and I read my first story. And we kept fighting, not just me, other female writers, till 2010. I remember that day I had a lot of trouble with my family, people from the society and from the tribe. Why did you allow your daughter to do this? That was shame. She wouldn't be able to get married. She will shame you. But some sort, my father supported me at that point because he didn't have that much pressure from the tribe. After that, 2010, there was girls who are 14 and 15, they were singing in the stage. I felt that this is great, we are making it, we are doing it. This is a step yeah, like we spent 10 years for a woman to be allowed on the stage, but now she's here and we will change things. It's hard, and every time we're fighting with it, it's getting harder, but we will get there. But then the war started, and they started targeting human rights defenders, because if you targeted them, you muted their voices, it will be easier to lead the mess. And it was devastating, because for me, it's like, this is what I spent all my life doing. Like, I didn't choose to leave Yemen. I had many chances to do, but at that point, I have a daughter. She's 9 years old. I wasn't even allowed to see her or to take her with me. I had just to lose her for a divorce case with my ex-husband, because the law is in his favor. And I was blackmailed: if you want to see your daughter, you should go back to him, you should do that, you should stop writing. And I stopped writing, and I did all things that the society asked me to, and still I wasn't safe, just because I want to be a writer, just because I wanted to point out the wrong stuff that women are facing, and that women are treated as a second-degree citizen in my country. But then, when I was almost losing hope and saying, okay, I lost everything, then I will leave the country, I got this scholarship. And I felt, from here, at least if something is happening there, I can talk about it, because people there can't talk. So somehow it gave me the hopes every day. When I wake up in the morning, I say, yeah, I can convey their voice. I still have something to do.
Mm-hmm. It's a long journey. Again, like many people here have long journeys. Still, if I may say so, you didn't exactly answer the question, how do you create that energy, that spark, to write down these stories and to share these stories, even in these impossible times?
Because I feel I'm their voices. Because when I was there, I didn't have a voice outside to help me.
Right.
Someone to tell my story.
Right.
But now I'm outside, I'm safe, they can't reach me and mute my voice, they can't stop me. So sometimes my friends, they send us hashtags and documents and proofs about things that are happening to women. They can't publish it themselves or post it on Facebook or write about it, because they won't be safe, they could be killed. Yeah. So I'm doing this for them. So this is like, as I told you, I answer it in a different way. The hope that I'm getting to keep on going is by knowing that I can still help them there. Mm-hmm.
It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a connectedness to the women who are now far away from you.
Yeah, and it's heavy. Because I want to blend in here and to have a life here and to learn the language. And I'm still connected. I still have nightmares every day about what's happening there.
Yeah. Ishmael, do you recognize this sense of responsibility?
Yes. Actually, we are in the same profession. But we got our calls in 2 different times. She got her call back home. I got my call in the diaspora. You know, so... in the first 5-6 years, when since I start writing, I feel responsible for the things that are going on back home. Because as a writer, you really feel the call that you are the voice of the people, because the pen is sharper than the sword, you know? So I always feel responsible, like, how can I contribute to bring awareness about the situation back home? Because it's still not a safe place for so many people, you know, political-wise, economically, you know, and minority groups like LGBT people, you know, all these kind of things. So recently, yeah, I started doing something in metaphors, you know.
In metaphors?
Yes. So yeah, we'll see.
That's what writers do.
Yes. So finally, I start coming out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I can actually interrelate. Even the first piece that I published, even though it is even in metaphor, I got calls directly from unknown numbers back home, and there were comments on my social media. People that say, oh, go and tell that story to your family. You know, people that I don't know. You know, so, but that makes me feel happy. Then I know my piece was good, you know. So we keep going.
They understand you and your metaphors.
If you are from there, you know.
Yeah.
But the ordinary Dutch person will think see it just like a story. But the local people will know what it means.
The ordinary Rotterdam person, maybe. Here,
the gewoon Sterveling.
Sorry, Hafsah, to return. Are you now writing and publishing again with your own name or still the pen name?
I'm using my name 2 years ago. I started using my name when I flew Yemen 2019, when I was in Malaysia, and I was using it here. And actually, this picture you're using here, it's the first picture I ever posted in the social media for me with my face.
Yeah.
And it's dramatic because I got death threats for putting this picture. Really? Yeah, and I had to be watched by the police for a few months. It was really hard time here in the Netherlands.
Really?
Just for posting this.
Because you're not covered.
Yeah, because I'm not covered.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow. This is something I also wonder.
This is just an example of how women are treated. They are like things. They are not entities. They are not people. They are not. It's a picture, like your identity, your face. It's not a thing that you are allowed to show.
Yeah, and that is a fuel behind your work. You've been here not too long yet, but do you sense that you have enough freedom here to tell and write your stories? Or do you feel certain restrictions and risks here too?
I can see, again, I'm privileged here because I got documented, I got registered, I have my permit. But I also think about undocumented people here who also cannot talk or cannot have full. It was difficult for me with the Dutch Foundation helping me in every single step. What for people who came here, especially ladies from such culture who are not really able to do anything or even speak English on their own. I can only imagine, and I wish in the future if I could do things for them with any organization, I'll be happy to do that because...
Well, you're at the right place.
I hope. I think, yeah. And I take the chance to thank Godfrey Lado for involving me in such an event and such other events.
Yeah. In your case, I wouldn't use the word privileged because you've obviously gone through so much that...
But after hearing the other people, refugees' stories and how they are treated, because I'm not different than them. I have a bad situation, but I was somehow privileged, even if it was the right for me to get treated as a citizen, if it was the right in my country for me to be educated. It was a privilege, and that's the fact. I wish it wouldn't be.
Sure. I see what you mean. And certainly you entered into this country in a different way than the other people we've been hearing so far.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with this foundation you're talking about, and also about the house, the former house of Anne Frank here in Amsterdam, where writers who are in danger in their own country can spend some time to settle down, and if you want, you can stay here. That's also why I'm asking, how are you already, how do you say, entering the Dutch literature scene, just like Ishmail is, through publishing in Dutch, through performing for a Dutch audience? Or are you still mostly directing your text at your fellow countrywomen?
Actually, after spending 1 year, I wasn't sure that I will be accepted or not. I will apply for a refugee citizen, like a visa permit or not. So I didn't learn Dutch. I just started learning Dutch after getting the permit. And the waiting process is not helping at all, as they all tell, because you never know. Like, during Corona, I wouldn't be allowed to go to any other country, and if I was rejected, I will end up in the street. It was the same for everyone else.
Right.
But so this is why I didn't start right away in learning Dutch or in putting myself out there, especially with the death threats, and I have to keep a low profile till my stuff is worked out. But I'm working on my diaries, like the time, my journey fleeing from Yemen till now. For these 3 years, I have almost finished it in Arabic. And I'm thinking about publishing it in Dutch first, so it could show the story of people like me in a more detailed way.
And even without learning the Dutch language, I think you have a lot to share with us here as well as with your fellow countrymen and women. The final question to both of you. I think I asked it to you before, Ishmael. A lot of the people we're talking about here tonight, a lot of the undocumented people are so damaged, are so put down by the system that they have no choice, or they see no choice but to be silent, just to survive. I think you and the other people here tonight are the example of the other attitude, to speak out. What would you say to somebody who is going through this undocumented existence here in the Netherlands and who simply cannot find the words, who simply does not know how to find the words? What would you say?
Well, I'll say to them, stop hiding behind the curtain, because it doesn't help. Hiding behind the curtain doesn't help. You are a human being in the first place. The worst thing that will happen, they put you in prison, you know, while you are already in prison. So my last advice is go out there, integrate, learn the Dutch language so that you can give a Dutch person the first impression that you really belong here, you know. So don't wait. Don't say, oh, I'm not yet allowed to stay, so I'm not going to learn the language. Because when you learn the language, it's an advantage for you. It's not about staying here or not. Even if you don't stay here, when you go somewhere else, you can still speak Dutch. You know, it's something to be proud of. It's a shame to the system that the system doesn't allow you to learn Dutch while waiting or while being undocumented. It's a shame to the system because someone is going to promote your language. So it's the same for the undocumented people or the people that are waiting in the camps. Don't wait. Learn the language. You are here. You live here. You know, you live here. So that's my advice. And it will open doors. Build a network. Build a network. Believe in your network. Believe in yourself. Believe in the people around you. Use your talents, you know. Show that you have something to offer, not to the government, but to society. Then you will find a place. You surely have a place here. Yeah.
And for 1 second, he doesn't smile.
Yes. I was serious.
You were very serious.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Hafsah, what would you say?
I think he already said everything, but I'll add one last thing, that reach out to people who are living the same and learn from them, people who were before you or who just arrived, like build a community, reach out to organizations that could teach you how to handle the situation. Silent is not is not a key solution for this situation.
And you are the living proof, both of you.
Yes, and you don't have to be a writer. I even advise people, don't be a writer, you know. you can come out in different ways, you know. So, yeah.
Of course you can, and not everybody tonight was a writer. I just want to say thank you to Hafsah, to Ishmael, to Daniel, to Amir, to Naka, to Sunny, to Catharina, to Zach is in hiding, to Godfrey and to the people at ASKV and the POW project for making this all happen. We're going to follow the rest of the program this week. I can promise you it's not going to be half as interesting as tonight. Still, we'll follow the program. I want to thank all of you for your contributions, your stories, your smile, your courage, your honesty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.